Hi. So, you know how when you read a book and then you watch the movie and it was a really bad plan because the movie missed out so much. Oh, so much. Two words for you. Harry Potter. Okay? Brilliant. Movies in themselves, brilliant, okay? But if you read the books and then you watch the movies, you will be so sorely disappointed. Okay, now if you're one of those people that has just seen the movies and you're like, yay, Harry Potter, great, you're good with trivia and stuff with the movies, but you've missed out so much detail, so many plots, so many characters that you haven't even met. Yeah, so basically, I just wanted to do some videos, fill you in some things that you probably didn't even know that will blow your mind. I read these all when I was a teenager, and then I watched them all sort of as they came out. I've been reading them all again. This one particularly made me very cross, and so the other night I was lying awake thinking of all of the things that it missed out. So, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. What can I tell you about this? I think I'm going to have to give you several different episodes. Okay, so here are some names that if you've just seen the movies, you won't have heard before. Ludo Bagman, Winky, Bertha Jorkins, and Spew. I'm not going to go into all of them right now because they deserve their own video, including the character Barty Crouch Jr. His storyline is so different to what is portrayed in the movie. So anyway, I just wanted to focus today on the first 4 chapters of the book, which are portrayed by 3 minutes 47 of the movie. Not all wrong, some of it's good. So first chapter of the book, you're looking at Harry's dream that he's having of Frank, the caretaker. What it doesn't tell you, actually, is that the book gives you this sort of introduction to who Frank is. So Frank is the caretaker of this house. This house actually belonged to Tom Riddle's dad, Tom Riddle, and his parents, the Riddles. And the first bit in this book tells you about how they were just murdered with no explanation, obviously, Avada Kedavra curse. And so the beginning of the movie where you see the caretaker go up to the house, he's there because he was the caretaker when the Riddles were alive. So he's still the caretaker and he wants to take care of the house, even though it's super dusty and stuff like that. And he thinks it's kids messing around up there. So I like the beginning of that. It portrays it quite well, of him kind of looking up, seeing the light flickering on, and he's like, oh, there's kids in there again. And then he turns up there and overhears this conversation that's going on. Interesting point, and I'll get back to that when I do my little episode on Barty Crouch Jr. He isn't actually in that dream. He's not there. That doesn't happen. Quite irritating. And also someone that they mention, Bertha Jorkins, again, tell you about her in another time. They don't talk about her at all because, you know, they just decided she's not important. Actually, she's kind of super important. That's an alright start. It's an okay start. And then in the movie, he just wakes up from his dream and he's at the Burrow. And it's like, what? What? You're missing out, like, one of the funniest bits in the book. Okay, so what happens is that Ron's parents, Arthur and Molly, invite Harry to come and watch Quidditch World Cup. They send a letter by mail and they cover the envelope in stamps because they don't know how to do it. And so the postman has to ring on the doorbell. And of course, Vernon he's enraged by this, that the postman had to ring on the doorbell and say, oh, this is funny, because of course he doesn't want anything to do with magic in his house. The only way that Harry gets Vernon to agree to him going to the World Cup is by saying he'd be in touch with his godfather, Sirius. And of course Sirius was on the Muggle news as well as being a known murderer because they were that desperate to catch him. So anyway, Vernon's scared of Sirius. Harry actually writes to Sirius at the beginning of the book as well. Something else you don't find out. Sirius is actually kind of there throughout a lot of the book. You don't hear about him at all in the movie. There's a whole bit with him that I'll explain in another one. So Arthur and Molly actually arrive at the Dursleys via Floo powder. But of course they have an electric fire in their living room, and the Weasleys are stuck in the chimney breast behind this electric fire, and Arthur has to blast it out with his wand, and so there's like dust and smoke everywhere. And he's just like, oh, hello, you must be Vernon and Petunia. Or like as if he's done no damage whatsoever. George and Fred go up to get Harry's trunk, and on their way back, because they've seen Dudley and they know how much of a piggy he is, they drop some toffees on their way back to the fireplace to go back to the burrow. Dudley takes one of these toffees, and of course it's a trick toffee. His tongue swells up massively. Harry then goes to the burrow via Floo powder, and Arthur stays behind to fix Dudley, even though Vernon and Petunia are like desperate for him to leave them alone, but he finally manages it and comes back himself. And that is when Harry gets to the burrow. So you miss out that whole really cool scenario where Dudley's tongue swells up, and it just sounds like the whole thing would have been hilarious to watch. Of course, you know, they can't include everything, and I get that. What we're going to do now is we are going to act out what we would portray as this scene in the movie. What's going on? What's going on? Hang on, stand back. That's better. Now we'll need Harry's trunk.
We'll get it.
Thanks, Fred and George.
You must be Dudley.
Okay, boys, back home.